So maybe some of you can already see me. Oh, I see my. Sorry, I'm just gonna pause for a minute to recalibrate my phone. I'm sorry for that. So there will be a little. One moment. You can maybe still see me. So I think I'm reconnected. Sorry. Hello, everyone. I'm buffering. Yeah, no, I was reconnecting. I was reconnecting because I had to calibrate. I had to calibrate a little my phone because otherwise everything is tilted. I mean, in Amsterdam, a lot of things are tilted already, like most of the houses, etc. But I thought like it's better if we go inside that it is not tilted. So welcome everyone, and see already a lot of people. Hi Evelyn, Leslie, welcome Tish and Catherine. Hi Anna. Hi Tyreek. Hi Susan. That's just the last names that I can see on my screen, but I know that there are already a lot more people than just the 6, 7 names that I just naming. So if you're not naming you, then don't worry, I still see you. Hi, Deirdre. Also, welcome to Amsterdam. Hi, Tish. Also, welcome. And you can see that I'm in a quite huge building over here. So I'm standing in um, what we call the food center, in Amsterdam. It's just a little outside of the city center. Hi, MS Kinsey. Ooh, that's interesting. Um, Hi, Robin. Also welcome. Now, but I'm standing in the food center that's just outside of the city center of Amsterdam, and you can see there's a big hall over here, a market hall that was built in the start of the 20th century. Since about 1.5 years now, it's not in use anymore. They're gonna redo the whole area over here, so there will be a nice neighborhood. And until that time, there are all kind of temporary things over here inside this place. So, um, but it's good to know. You can see I'm inside, but I'm prepared. I'm prepared because over here, where I'm standing in Amsterdam, today is not even that cold. It's about, I think, about 6, 7 degrees. So it will be 45 Fahrenheit. So that's not so cold. So, but what we're gonna do today is we're going to see art below zero, and that means below Celsius zero. So we're going to a location where it's about -10 to -12 degrees Celsius. So in Fahrenheit, it's about 10 Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's quite cold over there. So I have a lot of layers, extra layers. Also, even I'm not used to wear a hat, but I have to today. And not only that, I also have different layers to keep myself warm. So I'm now still warm, but most probably after about 30 minutes inside this freezer, because we're going inside the freezer, then I will be a little cold. Hopefully, by the way, you can all hear me well, because I was doing some tests and it was not all the time that the sound was good. So so maybe when we are going inside, there's of course a lot of big generators to keep it cold over here. So it can be that sound is muffling a little what you hear, but at least it is right now good. So that's a good sign to start with. So welcome everyone. It's almost time to go inside. I'm just waiting till some other people are going inside, and then we're going after them. So I physically have to prepare myself to go inside because I was there already to do like a pre-tour, or to go around and to see the works myself before showing them to you. I mean, I know most of the Amsterdam stories already, but I just wanted to make sure that I'm well prepared. So that's what we're gonna do. And yeah, this whole exhibition is good to know, is because Amsterdam is celebrating this year that we are 750 years old. I mean, I don't know if that's a very old city. It's also not a young city. It depends a little um, what you're used to. I mean, in comparison to Athens or Rome or cities like that, then 750 years is, of course, nothing. But I also know that there are a lot of places that are a lot younger than 750 years. So, yeah, and the official day is in October this year. So Amsterdam is from 1275, and I will tell you later a little more how we know that. So and the whole year there are celebrations, all kind of celebrations with all kind of cool things, and this is one of the no, not a, literally literally a cool thing that we're gonna do. So it's yeah, and it's this year. This is an interesting thing, I think, because it's 750 years Amsterdam and 400 years New Amsterdam, if I'm right, because that's from 1625, if I'm right. And now just I have to ask Robin. I think New York is celebrating, New Amsterdam is celebrating this year that they're 400 years old. Started by the Dutch, started by the people from Amsterdam. So, but that's another story. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna change the screen, and we're going inside. We're going inside, and we're gonna see lots and lots of beautiful artworks that are telling a little the history of Amsterdam. But not only that, we also see some famous people, some culture, some art, all that kind of things. So okay, let's see. I have, you see on the top of my finger, that should work. Let's see if it works. Yes, it works. Woo. Okay, we're going inside. Da-da-da-da, 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 da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Thank you, Catherine. Catherine is with me to open the door. Okay, there we are, starting with the first pieces of art, and it's immediately 20 degrees colder over here. We see two lions and three different crosses. This is the coat of arms of Amsterdam. And on top, they placed 750 years. And this is, by the way, a coat of arms that is quite famous. And just let me know, by the way, if you can still hear me well. So, okay, that's good to know. Um, no, it's a quite famous coat of arms with these three crosses. And if you're coming to Amsterdam, you can find these crosses everywhere. And one of the things where we're placing them on are all these little poles that you can find all over the city, mainly to make sure that cars are not parking. And on every of these poles, there is the three crosses. So it's and yeah, there are several stories about where the crosses are coming from, and one of them is that the part in the middle over under the crosses, that is the river. So this is the river Amstel. And on both sides, you of course have the quays on both sides of the river, or the grounds on both sides of the river. And the three crosses, they say, were standing for the three places in Amsterdam where you could wade to the other side. Because of course, originally there were no bridges. So for people, it was always good to know, are there places where where you can go with your horse through the water to the other side without going under, without having to swim completely. So I think it's a beautiful piece of art already. And of course, it is because of Amsterdam 750 years old. Um, and uh, all of this was made in the last months by several artists that are, and there's a lot of sound now over here, so I'm just going a little to the other side, by several artists, and they worked weeks to make all of this. And then the next one, this is also saying a little about that start of Amsterdam, because originally there was that Amstel River with these three places where you could wade to the other side. But the thing is, with rivers, you have high tide, you have low tide. There were several fishermen living on the sides of both sides of the river. But then, when there was more water coming, for example, in the autumn, then people had to move every time. So The people that were living over here, they were thinking, we have to control that river a little better. So what they did, the river, and we see over here the river. It's a little icy river now, but we even have uh, some fishes over there. So what they did is they built a dam in the river, and that's what we can see over here. We see the dam of the river of Amsterdam. That was to control the water mainly, but it also made it possible to start trading because you have to imagine there were a lot of ships going over. There were a lot of ships going over this river upstream, downstream, and all these ships were blocked now by this dam that was built in the water. So and then the people of Amsterdam they were saying like, okay, let's um, let's start asking toll to get to the other side. And if I'm talking about toll, that's also how we know that Amsterdam is 750 years old because we have over here we have a portrait of this man. This is Count Floris V, and he was the one who gave Amsterdam the rights. Who gave Amsterdam the rights to start asking toll. He was the Count of Holland in that moment, and Amsterdam was just a very tiny little fishery town. And he officially made a seal that gave Amsterdam the privilege. Yes, and exactly. So we have the seal over here. You can see it over here. And he has been writing down that the city of Amsterdam, the dam in the Amstel River, that's where the name is coming from, was allowed to ask toll was allowed to ask toll for everyone that was going to the other side. So, and it didn't have to go to the count himself anymore, but the people could have it to make the city bigger. So that's how we know. And this seal, this toll privilege that the city gave, this is the first time that it was written down that the name of this city was Amsterdam. So I know it's not Neptune, but I can imagine that you think about that. A man with a beard. But of course, this is the official story, but there are also all kind of beautiful myths about how the city of Amsterdam started. And one of these myths is about the ship that we see over here. We're calling it Koggenschip. That's a type of a boat that was used in this part of the Netherlands. And on that Koggenschip, they say there was a Frisian knight. We can see the Frisian knight standing here to the right. Let's go a little to the side. We see the Frisian knight, but he was not alone on his ship. He was sailing together with the Bishop of Utrecht. So that was from the neighboring area, the Bishop of Utrecht. And the third, of course, the knight, the Frisian knight, also had his dog with him. Very interesting dog. By the way, look, the dog, I don't know what this dog is drinking, but it looks like it has a beer glass. But they came over here on the Koggenschip and they loved the surroundings. They loved the surroundings. And this Frisian knight, he thought like, this is a perfect place to make a new settlement. So the story goes that he started over here. It is a myth, but that he started over here because lovely of the lovely surroundings. Yeah, let's do a little more of this of the dog. And I mean, look at how the lights are coming through. It's quite nice, isn't it? Yeah. So it is. It is basically, well, I think a frozen beer or so. A little odd looking dog. Yeah, that's true. But it's okay. And then the city was growing, and more and more of the income of the city of Amsterdam was coming from trade. So there were a lot of traders, there were a lot of seamen uh, going with their boats through Europe, but also to other parts of the world. And then a lot of these men they were on the water for ages and ages. So and then when they came back, After a year, or maybe even 1.5 years, then they wanted something. They didn't have sex for a long time, so they were going to the heart of Amsterdam, to the part that we're now calling the red light district. And to be honest, we are not allowed to film over here, as you can see over there. Make photos of art. Oh, we can make photos. Normally it's not allowed, but we can. But we have to respect the ladies. So over here, we're now in Amsterdam's red light district, where some beautiful women are standing at the other side of the windows. I mean, they say it's the oldest job in the world. So in Amsterdam, it has been there since the start. And even now, if you're coming to the city, then you can still go into the red light district. And yes, that's why I'm saying you're not allowed to take pictures over there. But I mean, these ladies over here are looking a little frozen, but it's really nicely done, isn't it? Also in the wow. So, and by the way, nice thing is that like, okay, there's over here like um a little gate, and we see two birds, of course, two lovebirds, also related to this area. But if you're coming in the Netherlands and also in Amsterdam, there used to be places where prostitutes were working, and the sign that they were using in that time is, by the way, not these birds, but that's a swan. The sign of a swan, if you see that on a building, that used to be the sign that you could have some other services in that inn, for example, too. And look at that. There are even some more. Look how beautifully carved these are. I mean, yes, these are the ladies that wanna earn something. And yeah, the details are impressive. And the interesting thing is that this exhibition is over here for several months, and they also have to do some maintenance on the statues. So that's nice. It's almost like a Marilyn Monroe kind of position. So, but yeah, they made this really, really, really nice. I mean, I can imagine maybe in this area that they have to redo it a little more, but because people are getting hot. Okay, and there's even, look at this, there's a big couch. So, a big couch where you can sit having a good drink, maybe a liquor, a Dutch liquor, while waiting. Okay, I'm just going to the other side. And here we come into Amsterdam. Now, I just told that story about the swans. And it's interesting, by the way, that they were using a swan because a swan is always the animal that is always staying together with their partner. So, but okay, that's for another time. But over here we have typical Amsterdam. The canal houses, the bridges, of course, the swans in the water, and these typical Amsterdam canal houses, very narrow with these beautiful tops, really nicely made. I'm only missing the I'm only missing the hooks. And then also everywhere you can, that's the nice thing of this exhibition. You can really interact with it. So we can now go here over the bridge. And as you can see, it almost looks like glass. We're going over the glass bridge. It is a little slippery, so I have to be careful. And then, of course, Amsterdam is not only canal houses, but also people on bicycles. Yeah, I will be careful. Don't worry. Just going a little back so you can also see over there. This where I was just standing with the couch, and the details are amazing. So yeah, I'm walking over a bridge of ice. It reminds me a little of the times in Amsterdam that when we really have a cold winter, that's already several years ago now. Um, but in the times that the canals are freezing and that you can ice skate over the canals, over the water. Most of the time, not under the bridges because it's not strong enough yet, but it's a beautiful time if that happens. But the last time was 2021, so it doesn't happen too much anymore. So Julie is asking, how are these made? And basically, the people that are the artists that are making all these statues and things, they're it is just the same as with marble. So instead of using marble, they're using ice. They're using ice, cold ice, and but it's the same technique. So they're using all kind of tools what you would see when they are using marble. And over here we have chess. Yes, chess. A chess. And this man over here, for Amsterdammers, most Amsterdammers don't even know him. He is called Max Euwe. And Max Euwe, he was the first Dutch world champion chess in 1935. So a longer time ago. But it's after he won the championships, chess became quite popular in the Netherlands. So, and it's nice to see how he's still playing. I see some of the pieces are starting to melt a little. Even the one in his hand, I think they have to redo that. But also the ones here on the sides, the horse, the different pieces and everything. And Roman, he's the Bobby Fischer of the Netherlands. Yeah. So, or the Gary Kasparov, the Russian chess player. And then here at the other side, we have this lovely looking old lady. Very lovely. You would say like that can be uh, a nice grandma. But this lady over here named Wilhelmina Drucker, she was one of the women in Amsterdam and also in the Netherlands that was one of the first feminists. And she was really doing a lot of good things. And one of the main things where she fought for that's at the end of the 19th, start of the 20th century is that women could also vote. She was, of course, not doing that on her own, but she started what you can see next to is the Vereniging voor Vrouwenkiesrecht. So that's mainly is the organization for women voting rights. So, and then the part of Amsterdam. So she was quite important for what's changed here in the Netherlands. The women got finally voting rights at the start of the 20th century. And then we're getting we're getting into my favorite museum. So we have, of course, the famous Rijksmuseum, the National Museum, where you can find all kind of pieces of art. And some of the most famous ones are over here made out of ice. So we have Rembrandt's The Night Watch, including all kinds of little details. So, and the interesting thing is, it is the same size as the original piece, and all kind with little details. Like, for example, over here, you see the man with the drums, and then the little dog over there on the side. So many little details. So a nice way of showing the night watch, and then in the icy variation. And yeah, we will soon go through this tunnel to go to see what's on the other side. But of course, I also have to show you Another masterpiece, not from Rembrandt, but in this time from the other Dutch master named Vermeer. And this is one of his most famous works called The Milkmaid. So we see the maid, and she is like doing the milk, getting the milk in. And the nice thing is that look what they did. So they even come over here. Oh, look at this, sweetie. While the white milk is just coming out of the glass. Wow. I didn't see this detail before when I was here. So it's like, okay, this is nice. And then, okay, the museum itself. The museum itself. So they reconstructed the front part of this immense building that was designed as the cathedral for the Dutch art, literally the cathedral for Dutch art. And also quite famous is the tunnel that you can take under the Rijksmuseum. Nowadays, uh, originally for cars to go to the other side, but nowadays for people walking. And of course, we are in Amsterdam. So um, we can always take our bicycles to go to the other side. So I'm just gonna going to going to the other side. Yeah, and again, also look at all the little details. And how long? Look, it takes several weeks. It took them to completely design this, and it's an international group of artists of ice sculptures that are doing these kind of shows all over the world. So, but it is, and of course, this is a special one because it's only because of the Amsterdam 750. So I can also show you, and here from nearby, you can really see that it is like glass, isn't it? So even the back part is very beautiful. So, and Rosie, it is the group of artists is very international. It's very international. So, okay, and then over here, I'm going to show you another piece. And this is a building that sadly enough is not there anymore. It's called the Paleis van Volksvrijheid. This was basically built in the end of the 19th century as the Crystal Palace, but you have Crystal Palace in London. And this was the Dutch version or the Amsterdam version of it, like a big palace that was used for all kind of exhibitions, beautifully just outside of the city center of Amsterdam. It was an idea from um, Samuel Sarfati, the man that we can see here on the side. He was a famous doctor, but not only that, he came in the local government and he was the one who thought like, okay, how can we make our city healthier by starting by making a sewage system? But also he had that idea to build this amazing exhibition hall, the palace, the palace for the industrial palace, basically. But in 1929, there was a big fire and the complete palace burned down. So sadly enough, it is not there anymore. There are plans now and then to rebuild it, but that will take that will cost a lot of money. So until now, we only have some of the old pictures. And of course, most probably the most famous Amsterdammer is this girl writing in her diary. You will most probably recognize it's a giant sculpture of Anne Frank, who has been living big part of her life in Amsterdam. And of course, sadly enough, she did not survive the Holocaust. Uh, Millions of people are coming to Amsterdam and want to see the um, the place where she stayed, the hiding place, what we now call the Anne Frank house. So, so yeah, an exhibition about Amsterdam 750 years cannot be without Anne, of course. And she was staying in the Anne Frank house, the hiding place. And it was next to this church, the famous Westerkerk, Wester Church, with the highest tower in Amsterdam, the highest church tower in Amsterdam, about 90 meters high. So that is almost 300 feet high in total. A beautiful church, also the place where that famous painter Rembrandt was buried. So he's still somewhere inside the church, under the ground. You can find maybe some of his bones. And yeah, of course, the story of Anne Frank is always very moving. Tomorrow it is Holocaust Remembrance Day, and I will not do a live tour, but I will do one of the tours that I made before about the one of the concentration camps in the Netherlands, where Anne and her family also went to. So that's a tour that I did. I think it is a video from 2 years ago. And if you want to know a little more about that, then I can really recommend that. Okay, and then what we have over here, these are the famous horse trams. Okay, we are in the 19th, end of the 19th, start of the 20th century, and the trams, the trams were getting, you were starting to see them, but the first variations were these ones that we see over here. Uh, just a carriage and some horses in front. And we have over here the carriage or the tram that's taking you from Leidseplein, Leidse Square to the Plantage neighborhood. So that's nearby the zoo of Artis. And I can even, that's a nice thing, I can even go inside. Let's go inside. And then again, look at the structure of these ice blocks. So these are the walls of the tram that we're now seeing. So I'm in a frozen world. The sound is a little stranger over here. And also, I mean, if you see this, yeah, we will add it to the calendar. That will be after this tour. Um, if you see this, and I'm thinking like, I want walls like this in my house. Only it would be very cold, of course. Yeah, so we can take a tram ride and even look outside while the tram is passing the Wester Church. Look at that. Wow. And Maureen, how long they keep frozen? Yeah, this exhibition is here until March. So basically until the end of the winter time. Um, and this place where I am, it is minus 10 to minus 12. So about 10 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's quite cold. I have to be careful the whole time because just to give you an idea, when I'm walking, it's the whole time like this. So I should have brought my ice skates because it is quite slippery. Okay, just going a little further because there's more to see. There's more to see. Another Amsterdammers or another something that a lot of people are coming to Amsterdam is for our beers. For our beers. And this man over here, this is the man who started the famous company of Heineken, the famous Amsterdam beer brand. And yeah, one of the biggest brewers nowadays in the world. Also the owners of Amstel and a lot of other brands. And this all started here in Amsterdam with a small brewery at the Stadhouderskade. And this man or this Heineken family became very rich, but also very famous. And maybe some of you still know that in the 1980s that the new Heineken, Freddy Heineken at that moment was kidnapped, and he was kidnapped for several weeks. In the end, they found him, but as far as I know, he's still missing a pink because some of the kidnappers were cutting off his pink to show them like, okay, you have to pay us. And the interesting thing is, yeah, the details are nice. The interesting thing is also the detail of the beer, because this beer, to be honest, I would not say that's a Heineken. It looks more like he's drinking a Guinness. Looking at the foam, because the foam of a Heineken should be about 3 times the size as what we see over here in this beer class. But that's just a little detail. Or maybe he loves Guinness himself. That can also be possible, of course. And then the next one. Ah, we're coming into Artis, the famous zoo that we have over here in the city center, the oldest zoo in the Netherlands from the 19th century. And they made several beautifully carved animals. And the giraffe is amazing. I don't know. I like the ones where you can look through. So you can also see, by the way, that they are carving them not completely out of one piece. So, for example, over here, we see there's several parts connected to each other. But the giraffe is beautiful, isn't it? Yeah, it's. I'm just gonna try to see if I can get it completely. There's also a nice penguin. That's more. The penguin will feel like home over here, I think. So just trying to get it completely. That's hard. That's hard. But yeah, I think we're getting there. And then, yeah, it's an albino gorilla. And also, again, so yeah, so you can see that they are basically having two types. So you have the transparent glass or the transparent ice and the white ice, like the one that they use for over here, the gorilla, and of course in all kind of combinations. There's also, look, just at the back of the lion, there's a cute little rabbit. It's a little Alice in Wonderland kind of like. Okay, then we're going into a tunnel of love. Look how beautiful this is. And what we see then is another white pattern. And then coming more inside, we see two men that are kissing each other. And of course, Amsterdam is quite famous as that liberal free city where everyone can be themselves, where we are very LGBTIQ friendly. And Amsterdam was also the first city, or yeah, the first place in the world where we had a gay marriage. And that's, by the way, only only since 2001. Only since that's not even that long ago, but we were the first town ever. I can still remember that for the first time two men were allowed to marry. And since that time, a lot more countries did the same. At least a lot of European countries now, it is the same. So, but we're still famous for the fact that we were the first one. So, okay, I'm just going the other way around. And then, okay, we have the Olympics over here, 1928. We have to go back about 100 years ago in 1928, so where the Olympics in Amsterdam. We still have a beautiful Olympic stadium. We have over here the place where the Olympic flam was. And also that 1928 Olympics, that was, of course, 1928. That was not so long after World War One. And in Amsterdam, for the first time, there were for several sports, the first time women were allowed also to join the competition. So before that time, almost all sports it was only man, man, man. So also in this case, we saw earlier Wilhelmina Drucker, the gay capital. So it's all showing like that how liberal this city is where we are living. And it's something that was not easy to get there. And there's still a lot of fights and of course discussions about it, not only in the Netherlands, but I'm quite uh, proud that we're here. Okay, for a moment, I'm just gonna show you. I don't know if you can hear the music a little. No, it cannot. We are here standing in front of this man, and he is the most famous Dutch folk singer. If you're not Dutch, then you've most probably never heard about him. But this guy over here is called André Hazes. He started singing in cafes. I was a poor boy, started singing in cafes at only 8 years old, and he became the most famous folk singer that you can think of. And he was also quite famous later in life that he was always drinking. He was drinking a lot of beer. He loved Heineken too. So he was famous as that little bit drunk folk singer. And if you're coming to Amsterdam, if you're coming in a bar, let's say, okay, can we see that? He is here in the bar. I can take this seat sitting next to Andre and he's singing. So nowadays, still in a lot of Amsterdam brown bars, you can hear Andre Hazes that are playing him. Okay, just gonna. And then from Andre Hazes, it is a small step to come to the most famous part, or one of the more famous parts of Amsterdam, that's called the Jordaan. Next to the Canal district, you have this area, and this whole area is used to be the poorest area of Amsterdam, where all the workers were living, where all the people were living that were working for the rich merchants and traders in the Canal district. And these poor people, they were living with a lot of them together, bad conditions, but they still say that part of Amsterdam is the real Amsterdam. And it's also famous for not only André Hazes, that we just saw, but also several other folk singers like over here. This guy over here is named Johnny Jordaan. So Johnny Jordaan. So he has even the name of the neighborhood. Of course, it was his artist name. And that next to him is Tante Leen, Auntie Lena. So that is, yeah, or of course, today you can buy me a hot coffee or a hot chocolate. That's maybe even better after this tour. Or maybe even a glue wine if they still have it. Okay, when I'm listening to Andre Hazes, we are going to another part, the famous square in Amsterdam with the palace on the Dam Square. And of course, not only is the palace you on the square, it's full of pigeons. That's why um that's why that's why so many of them are placed over here in front of the palace. And Evelyn, yes, you're right. Um and here we have that famous palace. And to be honest, the palace on Dam Square, originally the city hall of the city hall of Amsterdam. Now, these are all pigeons, all pigeons. So I'm gonna show you a little more. Beautifully carved. They're basically saying, welcome on the Dam Square. We're living over here. This is our territory. And you, human, you're just passengers. So, but again, look at the detail and how they made this. And of course, with all the light, it's even making it more beautiful. The tree crosses again, and then what we see over here, what they're trying to show is all the nationalities that are living in Amsterdam. Amsterdam used it. It has a history of a history of an open city, and a history of a port city, a history of a place where a lot of refugees have been coming from the start in 750 years ago until now. So nowadays there are about 180 different nationalities living in Amsterdam. So that's also, I'm always saying, like, if you're coming over here, don't worry if you're not speaking Dutch, that's not necessary at all anymore. Uh, Everyone is also speaking English quite good. So even in cafes and bars or in the tram or in the supermarkets, it's all everyone speaks English. And we are proud that we have such a diverse city where in different times refugees were coming and all are just adding to the cultural melting pot that we are right now. So, okay, look at this. What we have over here. One, the most photographed bridge you're maybe recognizing if you've done more tours with me. The skinny bridge or the magere brug in Dutch, with two beautiful swans again in front. The bridge, exactly, the bridge. And they did something nice because, of course, we have the bridge. There's the water again. And here on the right side, I don't know if you could see it, we have a little boat. And on that little boat is a little on the waves, but there are two cats on this boat. So this is depicting the cat shelter that we have on one of the canals called the Poezenboot or the cat boat. And it is an animal or a cat shelter for about 50 cats in total, but then not in a house, but on a boat, on a houseboat in the water in front. So it's a beautiful way of depicting. It's very nicely done, and also, I mean, look at the details of the swans too. Ah, yeah, so the cat boat is one of these places where a lot of people want to go to. If you, of course, if you like cats, then that's the place to go to. And also look at the details of these little waves. I mean, we don't have very high waves in the canals, to be honest, but it adds it adds a little more magic to this place, to this exhibition. Mhm. Okay, let's go around the corner. And then we have the letters. The letters of I Amsterdam. Lots and lots of tourists nowadays are still asking, can you take us to the letters of I Amsterdam? We hardly have them anymore, or not on the central locations anymore, just on Schiphol Airport. So, and over here, I cannot even get far enough to completely show you. And then the Netherlands is also a city of music. We are quite famous, not only Amsterdam, by the way, also other parts of the country. We're famous for the music, for, well, nowadays, a lot of electronic music, but not only that. So, also, there are a lot of bands, there are a lot of little concert places, concert halls. And it's a little harsh because I don't have a lot of space over here, but here in the middle, we have our most famous concert hall called Paradiso. And Paradiso used to be a church. You can maybe see how it looks. It looks more like a church. Yeah, it used to be a church, but since 1968, the roaring 60s, it was turned into a concert hall. And it's now, I think, the best place if you want to go to a concert in Amsterdam. But of course, there are also all kind of other types of music that are uh, that are played over here. Wow. Also, look at the details again of this violin. Wow. Yeah, talking about acoustics, I hope you can still hear me because there's now a lot of sound at the back. Mhm. Amsterdam. So here we can see it. Amsterdam. Can I get it? Can I get it? Yeah, sort of. Sort of. Only then the I. I am Amsterdam. So, oh, that's good to know. That's good to know. Okay, next part. We're almost at the end, and I'm cooling down bit by bit. So it's good that it's not that long anymore. We have then over here the number 14. And yeah, this is something, if you're from Amsterdam, you know immediately. And if you're Dutch, you're knowing where 14 is standing for. Maybe for people from other countries, it's a little less famous, but 14 is the number of the football player Johan Cruyff, and he's the most famous and the best football player we ever had. So, and he is depicted over here together with some of his teammates. He was playing for Ajax. He's not alive anymore. He was playing for Ajax, the football club in Amsterdam, and mainly in the 70s, they really won several times. For several times, it was the best club in Europe. So they won this. Johan Cruyff. Yeah, you're only writing it a little different, but with Cruiff. So yeah, I know, it's hard. Um, no, but they in total Ajax was four times the best club of Europe. So we're still proud of that. And last time was in 1995. I still remember that, seeing that uh, game. And yeah, Ajax is after the Greek hero, and this is the logo of them. So they still have that the nice the Greek hero depicting on their logo. So okay, just going to the other side to do a little more football, because this one over here we have another famous guy who played for Ajax. He's called Marco van Basten, always playing with number 9, and he became, in the Netherlands at least, very famous because he won. One of the goals that he made was with a famous, I don't even know how you say this in English. So, but he was getting the ball above him, and he scored several times and made the the European champion. So 1988 is this. So going back a little into when I was still a boy. Okay. And then the last one is a little, I don't know if you can see it well, but it is showing um, the biggest markets that we have in Amsterdam. One of the biggest markets even in Europe. It's called the Albert Kuip Market. And you can get almost everything over there. Of course, you can get your cheese, but and fish, the herring, for example. But also, that's what we see over here, the famous Dutch syrup waffle or stroopwafels. So that is what you can get on that market. And of course, vegetables and all kind of other things. And also, don't forget, don't forget the cheese. So some pieces are over here. There are even some little figures sliding down the pieces. I mean, it's of course a little icy. Uh, but it is a really nice market, and a lot of locals are also going there. Um, okay, and then the last part is a famous. There's a text over here in Dutch. It's saying zorg goed voor onze stad en voor elkaar. Van Eberhard van der Laan. And Eberhard van der Laan was a mayor here in Amsterdam. He died about, I think now, about 8 years ago from lung cancer, because he was literally smoking 30 cigarettes a day. So he knew also that he was dying, and that it was because of his smoking. But then in his last year, he said, like, okay, I'm going to stop as your mayor, but please take care of each other, take care of our city and for each other. So that's what it's basically saying. So that's his famous last words of Eberhard van der Laan. And that's also showing again how Amsterdam is. So living with all these 180 different nationalities, with people from all over the world in different backgrounds, people that are in the LGBTIQ community in all kind of ways. That's all Amsterdam, and I'm really proud to be part of that city. And I'm also freezing now. You can maybe imagine it. So just going, trying to go out. Oh, ah, so I made it. I made it. Oh, it was quite cold inside, to be honest. So I'm now. The good thing is that here at the end, um, they have a nice place, a little restaurant where you can have hot chocolates and all that kind of things. But the thing is, it is already the end of the end of the day, so they're closing in 5 minutes from now. So that means that they will not buy me anything anymore. So I have to go home or to another place to have something warm. So I hope you all enjoyed it to learn a little bit about Amsterdam, to see these beautiful art pieces. And yeah, if you like this, then of course I'm doing this by asking for some tips. Buy me a coffee, buy me a hot chocolate, buy me a beer, something like that. Um, because that is the way how I can keep on doing this. And it's also good to be back. I haven't been doing a lot of tours in the last months, but will now try to do every week a tour again. And then yeah, tomorrow that is not a live tour. That's just one that I did 2 years ago. But in the coming weeks, there will be several other tours from Amsterdam, but also from other places in the Netherlands. So keep an eye on my YouTube channel and the calendar because it's all placed in there. So I hope to see you. I hope to see you again. So thank you all for your nice words. Thank you, Robin, Sandy, Tish, and a lot of other people that were saying this already before. And I hope to see you again on another maybe a little warmer tour than this time. So thank you. And yeah, and Robin, the kayak tours will come back, but that will be spring for sure because now it's still a little too cold for that. Thank you. Bye bye. Then of course, how is this thing working?